There are two theories that exist in syntactic acquisition and development: the nativist theory and the constructivist theory. When we talk about the constructivist theory, it is the total opposite of nativist theory. Nativist theory focuses on the child's innate knowledge when learning a language, while constructivist theory is learning a language without the need of innate knowledge. When we talk about innate knowledge, it is the knowledge that is inborn in the human mind. So let us focus on the constructivist theory of syntactic development. From the word itself, construct, it means that children construct knowledge from the input they hear around them rather than just taking in information. Or in other words, this theory is about constructing knowledge. In this theory, a lot of constructivists states that a child's task is to learn how different words behave in sentences, categorizing together words that behave in similar ways, and extracting the patterns that govern this behavior from the input they hear around them. This means that in the constructivist world, there is no need to build innate categories such as principles and parameters. Children build the syntax of their language from the bottom up. Constructivism is based on the idea that people actively construct or make their own knowledge and that reality is determined by your experiences as a learner. This is very common in a school setting. One example is when a teacher is trying to introduce a new topic to the class. Instead of introducing and explaining the topic right away, the teacher asks first the students about their idea of the given topic. By asking the students, it will help to stimulate their brain and create or construct their own idea or knowledge that is related to the topic or the question being asked.
The semantic distributional analysis. The distributional hypothesis in linguistics is derived from the semantic theory of language usage. In recent years, the distributional hypothesis has provided the basis for the theory of similarity-based generalization in language learning. It is the idea that children can figure out how to use words they have rarely encountered before by generalizing about their use from distributions of similar words. Using this information to link words that behave in similar ways and have similar meanings. However, words that are used and occur in the same context tend to purport similar meanings, and they extract the patterns that govern this behavior. For example, most verbs such as I want, I like, I need, I love will occur in similar positions in sentences. However, they will also occur in similar inflections such as wanted, liked, needed, loved. Therefore, on the basis of these similarities, verbs can be linked together into a verb category. The distributional hypothesis suggests that the more semantically similar two words are, the more distributionally similar they will be in turn, and thus, the more that they will tend to occur in similar linguistic contexts.
Here we are going to discuss the usage-based model of constructivist theory of syntactic development. This model was based on the description of grammar called construction grammar by Kohlberg 1995 to 2006. The usage-based theory of language acquisition was introduced by Tomasello 2003. According to this theory, language structure emerges from language use, and children build their language relying on their general cognitive skills. Language acquisition emerges from language use. In other words, we learn language structures and words by using language and by understanding the language that other people use. It's essentially a first language acquisition theory, but it has ramifications for second language learning. The theory also argues that infants start to develop the cognitive skills necessary for language acquisition between the ages of 9 to 12 months. The usage-based approach to linguistic communication may be summarized into two principles: meaning is used and structure emerges from use. The first principle represents an approach to the functional or semantic dimension of linguistic communication. In this approach, we should focus on how people use linguistic conventions to achieve social ends. The second principle represents an approach to the structural or grammatical dimension of linguistic communication that focus on how meaning-based grammatical constructions emerges from individual acts of language. Now, we have four set of skills that are of central importance in the usage-based model. The first set of skill would be the distributional analysis. In here, the child tries to isolate recurring patterns and try to correlate these recurring patterns with some unit of meaning. For example, the sentence, Dada is going to work. Then, Ate Bea is going to work. Lastly, Mommy is going to work. Here in the three sentence, we have a recurring pattern which is going. The word going or the word is going to. So we will just apply the recurring pattern to the word going. So if the child sees his Dada, his Ate Bea, and his Mommy walking away from him whenever he hears them saying going, the child would correlate these recurring patterns with some unit of meaning which would be leaving. So the child would understand that the word going is associated to the word leaving or walking away. Now, after understanding this unit of meaning, the child would then build a sentence or construct as a simple sentence like Dada going, Ate Bea going, Mamay going. So these small utterances would mean, Dada, are you going? Ate Bea, are you going? Or Mommy, are you going? That is the idea of distributional analysis. The second is analogical reasoning. This allows the child to compare across different constructions and work out what commonalities they share. Example, we have the first sentence from the distributional analysis earlier, which is, Dada is going to work. Now, we know that the child knows that the word going is associated for the word leaving or walking away. Now, what if the child hears someone saying Ate Bea is off to work, and then he hears again Mommy is leaving? The word going, off, and leaving have different pronunciation, are far off different from each other. But if the child sees his Dada, Ate Bea, and Mommy walking away from him whenever he hears them saying the word going, off, and leaving, he would work out these commonalities they share and construct a meaning which is departure and exit. Now the child learns that the word going, off, and leaving have the same meaning and associated to going away, walking away, departure, or exit.
Third skill is competition. The child is sensitive to differences between what she is hearing in her input and what her own knowledge of syntax predicts about upcoming sentences, so that she can correct errors in her own knowledge. The fourth skill is the ability to do intention reading. This is to work out what message the speaker intends to convey. Intention reading is what children must do to determine the goals or intentions of mature speakers when they use linguistic conventions to achieve social ends. For example, imagine you're a 2-year-old child who sees a rabbit hopping along. You hear your mother say, "Glurp the gavagay." If you believe that your mother's intention is to direct your attention to the rabbit, you will probably guess that she is saying something like, "See the rabbit." However, if you believe that your mother wants you to help catch the rabbit before it escapes, you might guess that she is saying, "Stop the rabbit." In other words, the ability to guess the intention behind your mother's utterance correctly will have a strong effect on whether you interpret what she says accurately and ultimately on whether you learn the correct meaning of the sentence. Syntactic development structure of language. From ages 5 to 6, they are able to produce some sentences with passive voice. Also begins the use of morphology to infer the meanings of new words. From ages 7 to 8, they are able to use elaborated noun phrases, adverbs and conjunctions, and some mental and linguistic verbs. Also comprehends conjunctions such as because, so, if, but, or, before, after, and then. Also uses adult ordering of adjectives, uses full passives, and uses derivational suffixes such as er, y, and r1.
The next syntactic development structure of language ages from 7 to 8 is The child realizes that many words are polysemous or can have different meanings and can provide different definition of words of similar meaning. For example, the word get. It has 3 different meanings when used in 3 different ways of sentence construction. The first is, I have to get my keys. So the word get here is associated to the word grab. I have to grab my keys. Next, I get emotional when I see him. The word get here is associated with the word become. I become emotional when I see him. Then, do you get what I mean? The word get here is associated with the word understand. Do you understand what I mean? So, we conclude that the word get have 3 different meanings. First is to grab, to become, and to understand. Next, the child understands lexical ambiguity. There are 3 different kinds of lexical ambiguity. First is homophones. Homophones are words that are sound alike. It can have same spelling or can have different spelling. The first is bear and bear, cell and cell, see and see, I and I. The child learns that these words, however they are sound alike, they have different meaning. Next, the homographs, words that are spelled the same but can have different pronunciation. For example, the word record and record, content and content, object and object, progress and progress. Next, homonyms, words that are spelled alike, sound alike, but have different meaning. Example, the word bark. Bark can be associated with 2 different meanings. First is a dog sound. Second, the tree's outer layer. In conclusion, complex syntax development is the most important achievement in form of school-aged children. It remarks the development of a literate language style. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.